Hi, I'm Aislinn Antrim from Pharmacy Times. Before we get started today, one of our top articles right now is about a study which found that 2 out of 3 older adults are prescribed inappropriate medications, which leads to more injuries and adverse reactions. So there's more info about that on Pharmacy Times. Today I'm speaking with Fouad Atouf, Vice President of Global Biologics at USP, about the COVID-19 vaccine and how USP is involved in that process. So how is USP involved in the vaccine development process?
USP is contributing to the solution by providing free COVID-19 technical assistance. And part of that is training and other resources to support the use of publicly available standards from USP that can support development of COVID-19 vaccines and treatment. This is part of the USP public quality standards support, which can provide scientists, developers, manufacturers, and regulators with tools to ensure the quality of development of vaccines and other treatment for the public that the public can trust. In addition to that, the public quality standards from USP come in the form of tests and methods that are developed with input from practitioners, including doctors, nurses, and pharmacists, and in collaboration with manufacturers, academia, and government. So that just enables the standards to be vetted through a public and transparent process. The other information maybe to add there, the USP compendial tests and methods address common issues shared by all manufacturers. And some of that is like suitability of methods used to test quality attribute of vaccines, but also validation of those test methods, in addition to control of contamination and ensuring that harmful impurities will not be in the finished product. And if you add to that also tests that ensure stability of the product and some of the tools that are used, provided by USP, help with ensuring the quality of ingredient and raw material used in manufacturing.
Wonderful, that's also important. The race for this vaccine is unique in many ways, as companies are rapidly scaling up production, trying to get it done as quickly as possible. How does that work logistically, and what safety concerns might that present?
So first of all, as you know, there are a number of platforms using different technologies to develop vaccines for COVID-19. Researchers are working quickly to identify which one of those vaccines will be effective, as we develop COVID-19 vaccines. In that context, the public quality standards can help them accelerate their work by defining what good looks like and by supporting consistency and reproducibility in manufacturing and testing of medical product like vaccines. USP standards also provide tools to ensure the quality of vaccine component. We know that to make a vaccine, you use a number of component or ingredient, and like any other biological process, the number of component is pretty high, and ensuring the quality of those materials before you begin manufacturing is really important.
Gotcha. What issues should developers be considering during this process?
The main issues will relate to the type of platform or the type of vaccine that are being developed, because each platform or technology has its unique challenges. That said, even before a successful vaccine candidate is identified, the developers are and will be working on ensuring the quality and availability of several other key components that are part of the overall supply chain for vaccine manufacturers. Examples of that are some of the packaging and storage components, stoppers, vials, syringes, but also critical component for effectiveness of the vaccines, such as adjuvant.
Interesting. You've mentioned technical assistance that USP is providing. How are you working with the public health response, and what is the role of pharmacists within that response?
First of all, USP began a few months ago to implement a new program to support developers and manufacturers working globally on the development of safe and effective COVID-19 and vaccines and treatment. This program called Trust Accelerated offer USP technical expertise and resources to support regulatory predictability. So it will help ensure consistency in manufacturing. The program is designed to fast track bringing treatment and vaccines to market while ensuring quality development. This program builds the confidence and trust and with healthcare practitioners and patients. Part of this program, USP provide scientific expertise, technical expertise, which can support manufacturers with different aspects. Few examples of that are to help developers understand the regulatory expectations, and specifically when it comes to analytical requirements. Also providing guidance and support to developers on what type of raw materials they can use in their manufacturing and how they can develop a risk-based approach to ensure quality of those critical raw materials. The part of the program is also to help developers understand the safety and qualification of some of the complex biological materials that are used in the manufacturing of vaccines. And those are just examples of that program. And obviously, a dialogue between a developer and USP will open the door maybe for other areas that we can support with.
Absolutely. What will the role of pharmacists be once the vaccine is released?
So I think, first of all, we need to understand that there is the broad context for pharmacists. So you have the pharmacists who will be part of the local drugstore, but also we have pharmacists who are part of industry and work in the manufacturing space, and pharmacists who are in the regulatory space working in a regulatory agency, and we have also pharmacists at USP. So I think the group of pharmacists that work across the group of stakeholders will help ensure quality of the drugs and the development with all those aspects that we discussed earlier on ensuring quality of ingredient, but also the finished formulation and cold chain shipping and other aspects like that. So as COVID-19 and vaccines in general are released, pharmacists play an important role. And in general, pharmacists are much easier to access compared to other healthcare providers. If you try to call a pharmacist and have a question, I think you'll have probably a faster maybe approach than compared to other practitioners. So I think that's really important and a key element of why pharmacists are important. But also we learned from past experience. If you look at the flu vaccine experience, where the uptake in immunization was actually enabled by involvement of pharmacists. And there have been studies actually that showed that pharmacists helped actually increase the rate of immunization when it comes to flu vaccine. So I think that's another role actually that the pharmacists can play here.
Absolutely. The COVID pandemic has amplified many supply chain concerns that experts have been discussing for a long time before the pandemic. Can you discuss what those concerns are and any solutions that are being discussed or that are possible?
The main concerns evolve around drug shortage in general And hospitals and pharmacies are required to ensure a reliable supply of key drugs and vaccines and other treatment. They have no way to access information on the risk for shortage. They don't see it coming, and they may not be aware when that shortage may end. So not being able to see that is a major challenge. What COVID actually has done, and the lessons learned from there, is it exposed the vulnerability of the supply chain. And I think the importance to make sure that practitioners are aware actually of those challenges. There have been incidents around, disasters, and like the hurricane in Puerto Rico just showed that shortage in salines actually is something that we didn't know about it until that disaster. And understanding the supply chain, actually almost we needed that crisis actually to see the issue with supply chain for a basic component in managing patients and providing care to them.
Wonderful. Are there any policies or legislative solutions being discussed?
From the USP perspective, we are advocating for increased transparency in the global supply chain because of the point I made earlier, where you have practitioners who are not fully aware of the implications of an issue with supply chain. So having an increased transparency on the global supply chain is something that USP is advocating for. We believe it's really important for us to get out of a crisis like this one.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Now we're going to hear from some of our other MJH Life Sciences brands on their latest headlines.